Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Pod with Us.
I'm Daisy.
And I am Mike. We are your hosts, as usual.
Welcome.
Guys, before we get started, Daisy's got something to share.
Public service announcement. Please note that Daisy is not feeling well this episode. So you may experience some light coughing, light to moderate coughing.
To turbulent coughing.
But yeah, guys, I'm on the mend. So unfortunately, I do have a bit of a chesty cough still going. So I'm going to try and get through this episode without coughing. But if I do, I apologize for offending your ears in advance.
No apology necessary. And I think I'm speaking for a lot of people when I say that, because you've been through it. Like, you've been...
Yeah, this week has been the trenches.
Week? No, 3
month.
Weeks. Yeah, at least 3 weeks.
The month is pretty much, I've been in the trenches. So yeah.
But it's good to see you feeling better.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's good to be on the mend.
So, Daisy, what do we have in store for our listeners today? What's today's episode all about?
We are pressing on in episode 6. We are talking about uniting worlds. This is one of the episodes that was requested off the back of our getting to know us and how we got married and our journey. But some of y'all wanted to know what it was like merging our worlds together. More specifically, our families, our friends, our communities, our networks. What was that like? And this is such an interesting topic because I know that some people, some relationships really struggle in that merging phase because, I mean, if, like, for example, I met your mama and she didn't like me, oh my gosh, what are we going to do?
It's going to be tough.
What do we do? Like, if your mother doesn't like me, where do we go? If you met my mama and she didn't like you, where do we go? How do we move forward? Like, So yeah, let's dive in. I think a great place to start would be how we introduced each other to our families.
I think for my introduction to your family, first and foremost, you got to test the waters. You just can't throw the person physically there. I mean, some people do, but I think that wasn't my first step. My first step was, we're talking 9 years ago, right? So I'm on Facebook. I'm on your Facebook, right? And I'm just trying to find the nicest picture you have, or the nicest picture that you've sent me on my phone. And I'm going to show my bros. I'm going to show my peoples. This is the one. I think, guys, this is the one. And, you show them and you want to see their reaction. You want to see what they look like. And brother number one, I'm going to just call him brother number one. I remember I showed him, it was in our back garden. And I was like, bro. He was like, what? I think I found my wife. For life.
Oh my gosh.
And I took up my phone and I flipped up to your phone. So I showed my phone to him, and he was like, wow. He was like, what? And I was like, yeah. I was like,
oh, that's nice. That's sweet.
That's nice and sweet. Yeah, it was. I was so proud. I was thinking, look at what I have been blessed to be in the presence of. Look who's saying yes to me, man. This is, wow, this is good. So that, reaction number one was amazing. Then the other brothers and the other people that's in the family, I was showing them from one-to-one, including church family as well. And they were just like, wow, I cannot wait to meet this woman. And I was like, yeah, this is really good. So that was my first intro.
You taking my photos around and showcasing them to the world before we had even met.
Definitely.
That is so interesting because I don't think I showed your photo to anybody apart from, I think, my 2 closest friends. But nobody else had ever seen you until they met you. Until they met you, that was the first time because I wanted people to experience you. That was my perspective. So I was just so excited for people to just experience you that I don't think I should. And yeah, apart from my 2 closest friends, they had seen your photo, but nobody else saw your photo. So that's so interesting that you...
Difference, yeah, the way we did it. Yeah, that was definitely different. I think after the, showing photo stage, obviously... I don't want to let anyone know that it's a catfish. Do you know what I'm saying? I've got to produce the goods, the real goods.
Receipts.
Where are the receipts? Because
Or
Father
rather
Shop,
the goods. They want the actual goods.
literally,
Show me
I've been showing the receipts. They want to see the goods, the product. So when was the first time? I think
it was your brother's wedding. That was the first time I met all your family together. Yeah. It was your brother's wedding. Because I remember I was super nervous. I was super nervous.
Before we get to that, actually, I'm not sure if it was before that or after that wedding event you were just mentioning, but I think the one that sticks out to me most is when you met my dad.
Okay, yeah.
Because
that was a special moment.
I think so too. I know how my dad can be, and I'm like, yeah, he's just an old head Caribbean man. You know, he's got his own way of thinking. He's got his own way of doing things. I'm like, what's he going to say? Because I know how he feels about being left out of the loop. And I was like, I want to make sure that my dad is aware of, you know, who is this new woman that I'm bringing into the family that's essentially going to be sharing his family name. And I'm like, you know what? I'm old like that. I'm traditional like that. I want to make sure that, yeah, Pops knows, Dad knows who is that I'm really interested in, and I actually want his blessing. I want him to see. And my dad was about town, and I was like, oh, Dad, where are you next to right now? He's like, oh, I'm just next to McDonald's. So I was like, why don't I meet you there? I want you to meet my future wife. Were we engaged by that point? We were long engaged, weren't we?
No, we weren't engaged.
So this was all in the 8 months.
Yeah,
It felt like it was afterwards, but yeah, okay, cool.
No, we weren't engaged
in that 8-month period, and yeah, we swung by, and then we hopped into the McDonald's, and we walked to his seating area, and I remember him standing up and looking at you, and he suddenly just stopped, and then he said, "Grace." He was like, "Your face is just full of grace."
Yeah.
And I looked at you, I looked at him, I was like, that is what I needed. That was a blessing. That was like, wow. And then he said, Michael, thank you for honoring me. Thank you for, you know, bringing me in at this stage. Thank you for telling me, letting me know. And
he started praying for us.
And he literally started praying for us in the middle of McDonald's.
Praying for us, blessing us, like instantly there and then.
To me, that was impactful. I'll never forget that.
That was really, really special because I was so nervous. And I didn't know how he'd react and respond. But yeah, that was just it was so beautiful and so welcoming and just so lovely. And then he also said that I reminded him of your mum.
Right. And I think that's important to mention as well. Is that he saw the same thing. You know what? It's funny actually. Now that we're talking about it, just flashing into my mind as a memory where he told me the first time he met my mum. And he met my mum in my grandma's house, maternal side. And I remember he came to the door as a young man, knocked on the door. He came looking for my mum, but didn't really know who she looked like, too tough. And she was the one who opened the door. And he said that, wow, like the way that she said she was glowing, she was just bright.
Wow.
So for him to look at you.
She really does.
Yeah, my mom's a buff thing, man. I can't say it. I can't lie. You know who your mom, isn't it? Mom's just smiling right now. Like she's, oh, my boys. But yeah, for him to have a similar remark to you and that, wow, my son's also found this light, this grace that I've seen in my own wife. I'm seeing it now in his future wife. To me, was just like a passing of the baton. It was like a passing of the flame. I might be over romanticizing that moment, but to me, it had a lot of impact on my soul, on who I am as a man. Seeing my dad approve of one of the most important decisions of my life. Yeah,
and it's in complete contrast to the meeting of. Well, actually, not exactly, because I'm blessed to have two amazing, glorious men that I call dad. And
I'm just clocking you. What are you going to be saying? Go on.
One of them, the first one was very welcoming and actually, was he? How would you describe that? I think he was very welcoming. He did definitely ask you some questions, but not that many. He just had 3 questions, I think he asked you. and then that was it in the restaurant. And then the rest of the time he was like, yeah,
Oh, no,
I
no,
give
no.
you my blessing.
So I was just trying to clock which dad are you talking about? I want to give me the clue words. Now I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
He was very welcoming.
Yeah.
I'm a straight person.
Yeah.
And he was welcoming in his own straight way. So
Yeah.
I detected no shade.
There was no shade whatsoever.
Nah.
He was just direct. He just
Yeah.
had 3 things he
Yeah.
wanted to know from you. And I think once he got that assurance, he was like, all clear. And
No, he had 2 questions for me.
oh, was it 2? Sorry.
2. Shall I say what they were?
Go for it.
So he asked me, and the funny thing, he asked me so we all went to the restaurant, and you and mum-in-law just went to the toilet, just went to the
Yeah.
powder room, just do your thing. And I was like, this is my opportunity to ask him, can I have your daughter's hand in marriage?
Right.
And it's like, I didn't even finish my question. He was like, listen, I've got 2 questions. It's just like,
Yeah.
this guy's a cowboy. All right, cool, let's do this.
Not a cowboy, not you.
In a good
Colin.
sense, like he's like a Sigma male. You know, I'm out here in this wild west. I ain't got time for nonsense.
Okay,
This is
gotcha.
right. I'm not trying to mean it in a derogatory way, but he said, I've got 2 questions for you. Number 1, have you ever been married before? I was like, no. Have you got any kids? I was like, no. He's like, I'm good. You're good to go.
Yeah.
And it was literally that 20-second exchange.
Yeah.
And we both went eating our food, and that was it. The
Yeah.
approval was given. And I was like, straight. I like it.
And he did obviously share that neither of those 2 things were deal breakers as such. It would have just been, he would have had more follow-up questions depending on your answers.
Right.
I guess to see the character, which I'm really intrigued to what his follow-up questions would have been actually. I might
You
ask
would
him
never
one day.
know.
I'm going to ask him.
I was clean, baby.
I'm still going to ask him. I can ask him and say, Dad, what's up? Give me the 411.
Listen.
What were you going to ask him?
There's no need to roll back the clock. 9 years when we have made so much progress.
And the second interaction.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I want to forget this.
With my pastor / dad, as I think I've mentioned it before on the podcast, that my pastor has very much been a very significant part of my growing up. So he is my dad as well. I call him dad as well. That interaction was very different, wasn't it, Mr. Celestin?
Shall I describe?
I mean,
Knowing that he's listening right now.
Yeah. He was, I think it's fair to say, okay, first of all, from the behind the scenes, he didn't even want to meet you at first.
You got to do the layup.
Yeah,
You've got to do the layup. Go on.
I said to him, Dad, there's someone I want you to meet. So yeah, I'm going to set up a meeting. And at the time, I was either in charge of his schedule, his diary. So it was very easy for me to kind of slot people in here and there. And I knew his availability, so to speak. And he wasn't having him. He was like, nope. And I was like, what? He was like, no, why am I meeting him? I was like, oh, he's just a friend. Okay, so why do you need to announce? Like, I've met many of your friends and you don't announce them. You just bring them over. Like, you just introduce me. Why does this one have an introduction? And I was like, he just does. Oh, it's a he. And I was like, this is not going well. Like, this is not going well.
Did you think at that point he just knew what you was going to bring to his table?
I think 100% he knew. And I think because there had been other people who had come to him directly, not through me. I had never brought anyone to him, but there had been others who had gone to him. For basically telling him, I'm like, I want your daughter. I mean, I want to marry her. And he was just like, absolutely not. He was
not entertaining it.
He was not. And to be fair, they were not ready. They were not suitable. And hence why I had never brought them. In fact, some of them I didn't even know. He would tell me afterwards. So I think that had already put a tone in his mind, of like, this is ridiculous. Like, I'm like, I don't want, kind of thing. So I think he kind of was just like, is this going to be another joker in essence?
Don't waste my time.
Yeah. And thank God for his wife at the time, who was like, basically championing on your behalf and fighting. And she was like, you've got to see him. Why are you being like this? And then she, managed to speak to him, talk him down. And he was like, fine, I've got 5 or so minutes, but don't expect much. Like, he can come in and say hello and go. And I was just praying. And I remember you said to me,
it's a challenge accepted.
Yeah.
I remember me saying to you, really? When I meet him, guess what I'm going to get? I'm going to get myself a hug.
And I laughed out loud.
And you laughed out loud on the floor,
like,
rolling left
never.
and rolling right. And I was like, no, I'm being serious.
Yeah.
By the time we leave that meeting, I'm going to get a hug from him.
And I was like, absolutely not. It's not going to happen. He's not that kind of guy. Like, I'm here giving you the pep of like, don't be offended. He's very direct. He's very this. He's very that. He's not going to, laugh at your jokes. I'm all here laying the groundwork in anticipation of this meeting. And
by the way, that made me feel like you really want me to succeed because you really want the man. I want you to succeed. You're the one. I don't want you to come out denied. Access denied. Yeah, he literally, I literally said that. I said, I'm going to make sure that I get myself a hug from your daddy. So the meeting came and it was very interesting. Unless there's any more you want to lay up.
Nope.
So, yeah, the meeting came and it's obviously 9 years ago, so it's a bit fuzzy. But the parts that really stuck out at me was, it was a very... Do you know what it is? The whole interaction was just direct, respectful, authentic, real, and bold.
Wow. Okay.
5, yeah.
Such a manly way of describing things.
Well, thank you very much. That's exactly what it was. It was just a man-to-man conversation. There was no bravado. There was no chest thumping. There was no, how much is my king to your Kong. It was none of that nonsense. It was just, we're just here. I'm here serious. I'm not here to play games. And I just approached him respectfully. I think we sat down in the back room of the church.
It was his office. It was in his office because I was standing outside praying.
Was it the office?
Yeah, it definitely was in his office.
I have in my mind that we sat down in that there's a room in the old church, in the church we got married, you wanted to have like a little birthday party at. It was in there. That's what's in my mind right now. It wasn't in the office.
It was definitely in the office. But anyway, carry on.
So we had a conversation and he just asked me straight questions. I just gave him straight answers. And he was very like, I need to know who you are. I need to know what your intentions are. I told him I told no lies. I had no intention of telling any lies.
Yeah.
And I think I made a claim, I made a claim from his perspective that, I was a pastor. And we just started getting into spiritual things. And I was like, that's my comfort zone. Theology, God, this, whatever. And we got so in it that we started having a little mini word of knowledge / prophesying session. And we was talking to each other, engaging with each other, and we're just talking about these kind of things. And I think, if I remember correctly, as he was seated, I think he has this thing where he may shuffle from one side to the next and cross the legs and move around. By the end of that session, he was totally relaxed and from what I saw, just more still than before. And I was really comfortable being around him. I was like, this guy is a serious guy. This guy is, this is a guy you don't play around with. If I'm coming to say words to you, I'm coming to say real words to you, and you're not here for games. So I began to generate a really good respect for the man. I was like, Like, I just said to him, I'm here to marry your daughter. I'm not here for games. I'm here to take her right to the altar. And I said, I promise you that I'm not here for those kind of games. And again, the rest is a bit blurry, but I know that core of a conversation happened to the effect of something like that.
And what happened at the end?
I got myself the hug.
He got the hug, guys.
I think it was like, how long was it? 90 minutes? 60 minutes?
Yeah, it was about 90 minutes, close to 2 hours.
He got up and, the biggest hug, the biggest arms that were wide open, and he just embraced me and I embraced him, and we just kind of lingered there for a moment. I was like, got it.
He was like, I'm in.
I got it.
That was, I think, a huge success. But it's funny because as I think about it, it was probably harder or more. I think you definitely had a lot more hoops, so to speak, to jump through. Because on my side, when it came to my friends, my family, because even my mum, I was really, really nervous about my mum. But ironically, I think she probably knew before I did, I think.
She did.
Yeah, because
she did pick it up.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the first time you met her was at one of my very close friends and brother's graduation party. And I was a bit nervous to introduce you guys because my mum had very high expectations. She had a very specific list of what was acceptable and what was not acceptable to bring before her. And one of the things that she had said to me before, which ironically actually is a testament to God, because this changed after time, or instantly as soon as she met you, was the fact that you were Caribbean. That was one of the things that she was like, before even having met you, she wasn't keen on like, yeah, let's not go there. In certain parts of Africa, I don't know if any of you guys can relate, but yeah, especially when it comes to African mums and dads, they definitely have like, stay away from this culture, stay away from these people, stay away from this. And I guess our family history of those who had been or experienced men from the Caribbean was not always so positive. So that definitely had put a sting in her. So that was one of the things that I was really nervous about when it came to her interacting with you. But ironically, she absolutely loved you from day one. From day one that she met you, she loved you and was like there telling me that like, yeah, Daisy, you know, I think he's amazing. I think this guy would be really good for you. And at that time, I didn't necessarily see you yet in that way. I was just kind of like, yeah, he's a good guy. We're still seeing, you know, we're just talking. But obviously she didn't know we were just talking. But yeah, she just opened up, and all her criteria and all her list, I think, went out the window when she met you. And she just kept saying there was just something about you, so much so that she even invited you to spend Christmas with us. She invited you to spend Christmas with us.
She did, yeah. I gladly accepted.
Yes, of course she did. But yeah, and that was really important to me because obviously it's pretty much been me and my mum for a really long time. So I can't imagine how I would have felt if she didn't. I mean, it would, yeah, I think, let's not even consider that, because that would have been very, very difficult to navigate. And I think that would have been a deal breaker.
that Christmas meal time I spent with you guys was actually really important. I think I remember sitting in the living room with your mum, and I think at that time you was in the kitchen doing your part of the kitchen cook, and I was sitting with your mum in the living area, and I think we just talked, and I thought, this is awesome. Like, this is really, really cool. Like, wow, your mom is cool peoples. Like, the way she's thinking, the way she processes is different. She's innovative. She's got vision. She knows what she wants for her daughter. And she knows that I fit into that. I fit into that vision. She's not like, oh, he's just one of those. There's another street guys out there, or he's one of these people, one of those people. It's like, no, this guy's good. So yeah, you know, meeting your mum, meeting me meeting your mum, definitely like not what we expected, but we were pleasantly surprised, as the minutes and time went on,
which was a huge relief. Even like at the time meeting my family. The rest of my family, I remember you met them and we went to a restaurant and you pretty much got thrown in the deep end and you had to meet everyone in one go. I was happy with that because my family's loud, boisterous, big. I had no problem with the bigness of it. Yeah. But there was just, I had to go through some challenges, some tests of the cloth. And that was really interesting. And I held my own. You definitely did an amazing job. Get true to myself. You did an amazing job of holding your own. Yeah, you did. It was all good. Yeah. And likewise, I was thrown in the deep end with your family and I had to pretty much meet all of them at your brother's wedding. And I got to meet literally everybody. Cousins, uncles, aunties, grandparents, like everybody in one go. But they welcomed you. They were just so happy to meet you. I think by that point I had already lovely. I mean the pictures had already gone round and I've met Daisy, but you haven't had already gone round. And by that point it was like, this girl's already a part of the family. And that's one thing I love about my family is it doesn't matter who you're from,
who you are, where you're from. Once you're accepted by one member of the family, you're accepted by every member of the family, and it's really good to see. You should see it on Christmas Day. You should see it on big family days, or we go to the park together, playing games and eating food. Or I remember when I was younger, we would go to like the seaside together, and we'll find different people a part of our outing that were connected to, as in a nearby nature or nearby choice, to somebody who's involved with somebody else. He may not look like us, he may not smell like us, he may not sound like us, but we were just like, oh, if you're here and this person loves you, then what's up?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? There was no like difficulty or anything like that, just come and be a part of it. Absolutely. So our motto was, I won't say it's a motto, but the way that I saw it was, you're in this family by proxy, by choice, by nature. You have 100% in your head, and what you do chips away at that score. So we just give you 100%. And if you start moving mad and do some silly things or some things that we just don't understand or you can't explain, then it just kind of goes down and down and down and down. So,
but that initial welcome was amazing. And even your mum, she was so sweet. I mean, she literally made me feel so comfortable. She was so loving, so gentle, so supportive. She had that big, bright, welcoming warmth to her. And I think that really, 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 really helped. And she was like asking questions about me, and I could see that she really wanted to get to know me from a place of positivity and a positive intent. And yeah, she just embraced me, and she still does to this day. So that was... It wasn't hard at all. But I will say, having said all that, there definitely were some points where we found obstacles and challenges, especially because, as most of you know, or if you guys didn't know, myself and Mike are actually from two completely different cultures. So I am Kenyan. I am from Kenya, was born in Kenya, and came to the UK when I was about the age of 3. And Michael is from St. Lucia. He's from the Caribbean, but was born here in Britain and has lived here all his life. So our experience of life is very different. We have similarities in the sense that obviously I came here at a very young age, so my whole world has pretty much been shaped by the UK, by life in the UK, just like you. So from that sense, we're very similar. But in terms of culture, tradition, our families, the way we do things,
totally different,
completely different.
Well, I guess we're using the word totally and completely to emphasize that throughout living together and building together and growing together, these differences have been the root of so many things. Yeah. But I think the value of family, that was definitely shared. Yeah. The value of, being together, being honest, good, moral people, that was definitely shared. So completely no, but in terms of culture, in terms of... Yeah, that's what I mean. Like the way we express cultures is very different, because a lot of your family has actually been born in the UK. A lot of your family... I think even your mum was not born in the UK, was she? She was born in St. Lucia, but came here. She was born in the UK? Or no, she was born in
St. Lucia, but came here when she was younger, in her...
She was like 13, 14.
Right, so really young. So pretty much her life is shaped by life in the UK. Whereas my mum came a lot older when she came to the UK. A lot of my family did. So that's very evident in the way that our families conduct themselves. And even like, seemingly small cultural things like, for example, our first trip to Kenya, I think, was when you met the rest of my extended family.
Yes, the first trip to Kenya was stressful. It was stressful in the sense of not because of family, not because of traveling, not because of anything else, but just the language barrier. Yep. That was stressful. Yep. Because when you're in a house that is full of all these personalities, all of these people having fun, doing their thing, someone busts a joke and you're the last one to check it, and it's like I'm having an interpreter and I'm like and everyone's like, yo, you missed it, and I'm just like,
of course I did, it's not in a language I can understand.
Exactly. And you just have to deal with it, because at the end of the day, it's not my mother tongue. So I can't make any demands and say speak English and all that kind of stuff. It's irresponsible and unfair and ignorant of me to do that, to go into another country and know that the mother tongue is what it is, and I'm making demands that it should change. That's not me. I'm going to just say, I'm going to vibe, I'm going to do what it is, I'm going to laugh, I'm going to just do what I can.
Do what you can.
I did the best I could, but you really have your threshold. You have a limit of like, I really can't.
Yeah.
It really is tough.
It was really hard.
It really is tough.
There were points where it was really hard for him.
It was tough. Yeah, it was hard.
And he would have to like take little walks around. Thankfully, there was acres and acres and acres for you to walk around.
And I loved it. We went for walks. I made friends with your cousins, and they made me so comfortable.
Yeah, my cousins were really accommodating, because obviously English for them is probably more of a first language now than their mother tongue. So they found it very easy and comfortable to communicate in English. But obviously uncles and aunties and grandparents' generation, some of them literally don't even speak English. So to have those conversations, trying to transition those to English to accommodate you would almost be impossible, because half the room would have no idea what's been discussed.
Exactly. And I would never. That's why I kept my mouth shut. I just appreciated the culture I was in, and just learning and just feeding off the good energy in the room.